Tough game. We battled. I thought that was there was some fun in that game as far as just the back and forth element, and we were right in it till the end. And so I love the way our guys responded. We didn't start very well, and all three, certainly on defense and on offense, we certainly did not start well. But our guys battled, and I love the way our guys responded. I thought coming out of the second half, you just felt a little bit of an energy of, okay, let's go turn this thing up a little bit more. And so offensively got the score, and then defense I thought settled in, just played some really good football in the second half. I thought special teams, we did some good stuff. And so, as frustrating as this loss is, and these, they're tough. There's nothing easy about losing. I love the way our guys battled, and I love the way the positives that are coming out of this game are going to be able to be built off of. So
specifically to Tyler, would you think that?
Yeah, I thought, if he, lean in that second half. Obviously, the first half we just didn't do enough at all, and so second half I thought he battled, hung in there. I thought there were some big time plays in there. Some resiliency. I think that's certainly a big thing that came out of that game for him. There'll be plenty of lessons to learn, and I think that'll be the good out of this thing for Tyler. Is there'll be plenty of things that he'll get to correct and improve from. But for him to be right in there at the end, give us a chance. Make a couple big time plays in the red zone. To score both those touchdowns in the red zone. Obviously, give us a chance at the end.
Is that part of it sometimes? The rookie quarterback is just kind of going through some of the ebbs and flows, highs and lows, or do you have to kind of put that beyond you when you're feeling it?
Well, I think at the end of the day, our goals and intentions are all the same. We're going out there every Sunday to win a football game and put ourselves in the best position to be successable. And so I think Tyler's had a lot of good through this journey. There's going to be some things that he gets to navigate and navigate, both positively and things that he'll have to improve on. And so, again, I thought, that game had the recipe early in the game to get away from us. I thought our guys hung in there, battled. I thought Tyler's resiliency showed up and, gave us a chance.
That 2nd and 1 shot at the end of the game, did you guys get the look? Like, is that what you guys wanted?
Yeah, I just felt like a 2nd and 1, because you have the 2 potential downs behind it if you need to. Take a shot. It's going to be our best chance of getting a one-on-one opportunity downfield. The longer that drive goes, the more likely they're going to start playing with 2 deep safeties and 3 deep safeties, and so I felt like it was an ideal time just to take a shot, see if we can get it. We're close, and then obviously the 3rd and 4th down, didn't turn out our way either.
Was that the same play you guys ran against Carolina?
No, it was just, this one was just straight calling 4 verts and just told Tyler, take a shot if you got it. It's 2nd and 1. We still had the timeout in our pocket, and so let's be aggressive and see if we can get this one right now.
Does Chris need to catch that situation, or would you make
There are opportunities out in the field. Everyone has a bunch of plays throughout this game that they get to watch, and so there's nothing easy about catching it between guys. And obviously, he'd love to make that catch. And these things hurt for everyone. When you have opportunities in games, and so. Obviously, we had an opportunity there, but we had a couple more opportunities within that game. Certainly behind it, we had 2 more opportunities to convert and extend that drive.
Was he full go yesterday in terms of he was on a snap count, he goes back and everything?
No, he played a ton of snaps.
What's the process like for y'all in terms of building off of that really strong second half and trying to translate it to the beginning of the next game? What do you have to do in between those 2 things?
I think it's a big focus for us. If you can replicate what the second half felt like, looked like, played like, and we get that going earlier in the game, I think we have a formula right there that we can lean into. And so, the first half, simply we just didn't get it done. I got to do a better job of finding the path to allow ourselves to play better in that first half. We didn't execute or give ourselves as many opportunities as we needed to.
What's the approach to creating that feel? You talk about creating like that same feel that you had in the second half and the first half. Like, how do you go about it?
I think it's just something we just need to talk about and create the urgency early in the game to get going. And so, they had that opening drive touchdown, and then 4 of our first 5 drives are 3 and outs. And so, what it looked like in the second half, we need to remind ourselves of that moving forward and really put that at the forefront of our mind, and do whatever psychological game, individually you have to play to create that.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why is it? Why can't you just flip it on its head? Obviously it's not that easy, and there's a lot that goes into it. But as an idiot, that's kind of the question that's in my head right now.
No, and it's in everyone's head, I think, is just how do you replicate what that second half looked like into the first half. And again, we just have to find that, because obviously that's been a thing that we've stumbled a little bit with some early starts in these games. And again, it's it takes all of us just coming together and playing a little bit better, coaching a little bit better early in games, and giving ourselves opportunities, because there's a bunch of good second half football throughout a number of these games, but we put ourselves behind a little bit too much.
Along those dumb lines, and this is, I realize it's oversimplifying it, but like, what took so long to get Bailey involved? Like, why did it take until the 12th game of the season for him to finally play like that?
Yeah, obviously his role's increased as we've made a few transactions, and so he's played a lot of snaps the last few weeks. Obviously, really since we lost Sheed in the trade, he's played a ton of snaps. He's basically been our starting Z, and targets naturally go certain ways based off the defense. And I thought he played an excellent game.
Was there something he was doing yesterday, like, or were the plays called simply for him more yesterday, or like, he's playing a ton of snaps the last 3 weeks? Was it something he was doing to get open better yesterday?
I thought he made some really physical contested catches. There's some that weren't easy at all. I think they played some shell defense, some cover 2 defense, allowed us for in breakers, and we were throwing in breakers to the boundary where he was lined up a lot. And so Sheed's caught a lot of those in the past weeks when we played cover 2 teams. And so I thought he did some really good stuff in there.
So that's what the contested catches from him, just as a guy with quarterback experience yourself. Like, is that a trust that you can build between quarterback and wide receiver in any other way than just doing it during a game, or like, how do you go about building it?
No question. I think you earn those opportunities as you go, and he's been a very productive player for a couple years now in the NFL. I think he's going to have a big role in our offense moving forward for quite a while, and so I feel great about him. I'm excited with where he's going. I thought his combination of doing some of the dirty work in the run game and then creating some of these hard down pass game stuff certainly showed up.
Are his instincts on the scramble drill like as good as they seem like there was a lot of that last year, and then that one on the sideline? It looked like he was just like saw it and was out of there before he even broke the pocket.
Yeah, he had 2 really good ones in the game. The one on the sideline with the drag, catch drag, and then the touchdown late. His ability to quickly redirect, find the green grass. I did think that was something that was really good from our game. Chris had the one for a touchdown as well. And so guys quickly recognizing, okay, we're in the second phase of a play. Let's find green grass. Taysom had one in the third quarter on the sideline. I thought there were some positives out of that.
Is that something you feel like is a big part of the identity of the offense as you're continuing to build that, is the ability to make those plays on those sort of second chance?
Well, I think a lot of the best quarterbacks in this league, they play off schedule. And so, I think when you embrace that there's a second phase to a play, big plays can happen because of it. And so, while, you're always trying to, fine tune the initial intent of the play and execute it as high as possible, there's still big plays that are out there and available. And so I think our guys have done some nice things over the last few weeks with that.
What's the balance on that? Like, do you want a quarterback that's like comfortable leaving like a clean pocket because he feels like he can create something, or do you want him to stay in there until like it's time to go? Like, how do you balance that?
I think the intent's always to, execute the initial play, and so you're always trying to fight that element of how can we, win the initial play, recognizing there's going to be off-schedule plays, and you're going to have to do it. Ideally, as much as you can when you can stay in the pocket and execute, and let's play ball from that confined space. And so, but again, these quarterbacks are going to have to make really quick split decisions. They're going to have to trust their instincts, and you got to make some positive plays out of it when you do have that opportunity.
How do you feel like the balance has been like that for Tyler so far?
I thought there's been some good. There's definitely been some good. I thought he used his legs a couple times in this game. Probably had a couple more in this game than probably most games, but that happens sometimes. And so he was able to make some big plays from it, both run and pass, and so that was good.
Is the sack number? I think the sack percentage is around almost 8%, 7-9. But like, I don't know. Sorry, we've asked. Do you know are you worried about the number of sacks he's taken, or is it like just like the decision making is good? Sorry, that's not.
I guess I just say, like, from a sack perspective, obviously, I think a couple of these have occurred in some scramble phases where he's tried to extend plays, and that's the give and take of that. And so we got to continue to look at every example. and continue to evaluate it. And he gets to do that and, kind of go through that process of, okay, should I have stayed in the pocket here? Should I have thrown it away? Should I have bought some time? Every single one is another example that he gets to build off of and build that repertoire of, times that he's done it. And so, there's been a couple because of that, I think. Again, we got to do a better job, from a protection standpoint, of just giving ourselves some ops. The fumble was just a miscommunication up front. We got to execute the protection plan, and we got to be out there. And Bay's not blocking the defensive end or anything. He's there just to give a little presence and go run a route.
When you see Tyler operate as well as he did in the no huddle in the fourth quarter, do you think more about maybe going tempo earlier in the game, or is that strictly dictated by the game situation?
I think you got to earn some first downs to get to tempo. Last week we tried to, second play of the game, we went with the intent of playing a bunch of tempo the week before, and, we had a fumble on the second play, and then we had some 3 and outs in there. And so I think when you earn first downs, you earn the right to play with tempo. And then, obviously there's a lot of positives with that. I think that's something that's definitely a strong suit for our players. I think there's a high comfort level there. But again, going 3 and out and taking 12 seconds off the clock isn't going to be effective for our entire team. But when we earn the right to get into it, I think absolutely we need to do it.
When you're evaluating a young quarterback, what's the balance of kind of looking at everything from the broad picture of maybe the run game wasn't working, a lot of second, third, and longs, and how much of it is the situation is the situation, it's the job to execute the thing out.
Yeah, I think that's more just from our whole entire offense perspective. I think early in the game, not efficient runs. We got better as we went. I thought, Devin had some really just downhill hard runs, late second quarter, that last drive before the interception. Then the second half, I thought there was a bunch of really good hard runs. And when you create that, and then you can create all the things off of that, that's a positive environment for us to have success. And so, I think that's an important aspect of our offense. And so Tyler, early in the game, there were some third and longs where we're kind of playing in too much behind the sticks. Thought guys settled in there, played better. We got to continue that.
When you had a chance to, not to kind of belabor the slow start point, but like when you had a chance to go back and look at those 3 and outs early, like was there any like kind of consistency with that? Anything that was kind of holding you back?
Yeah, inefficient runs, not getting enough on the first and second down, putting ourselves in third and longs a couple times, and then when we did have a third and manageable, we missed the opportunity there, and so we just got to play cleaner football.
Do you have an update on Justin?
Justin, yeah, he's got his knee. We'll see how that progresses. Obviously, potential for some missed time there, but we'll let it progress.
This is kind of off the wall, but did you see Nuss's catch on the sideline?
We did see Nuss's catch on the sideline. That was a good one-hander.
Did you go over that?
We saw it as a staff. We definitely gave him a shout-out.
What was it about Evan Hull that maybe that he showed maybe throughout the week that allowed him to kind of propel him?
Yeah, really have liked his progression. Hopped in here, I think scout team's always a fun experience just because guys get a chance to just go out there and play, trust their instincts, and kind of just improve and get better. And he was one of those guys, he kind of just hopped out there and scout team. And, our first week with him is kind of like, there's something here. The next week, more and more production. It just, you can sense it. And then his preparation was really, really on point that allowed him to be prepared and ready to go. And so felt like, he's got some juice. He's got some big play potential ability, which I think is intriguing for us. We need to create some of those in the run game. So I think giving him a couple ops, it gives us at least, an opportunity for that. And I thought there were some good runs in there. He ran downhill pretty physical, and he was clean in protection. He had one really good blitz pickup, and so there's some positives there.
If Reed misses time, I think Terrell is probably your 4th or 5th. You Tyron and there, your safety of the year. Like, what do you get just made of the depth that you've had at safety, and how does Terrell kind of fit into that? What do you see?
Yeah, just been really impressed. TB, Howden, these guys have been prepared all year long, and they prepare like pros. They do all this stuff on special teams that has a huge positive impact on our team. When their opportunity is called upon, they seem to make plays every single time out there. I mean, Howden's got the touchdown this year, against the Giants. Terrell seems to pop out there and make a big play on some critical down. The Giants last week, this week, PBUs back-to-back weeks. And so, we feel fortunate. These guys have played a bunch of football. They're really smart players. They got really good futures in this league. And so for us to have acquired that kind of depth in that position has certainly helped us as we've navigated all these different pieces.
Has the exposure plan changed at all, or even maybe upticked at all for Danny Stutzman?
Danny's doing an excellent job. He has a big role on special teams, and then his ability to kind of play a couple spots. Obviously he's backing up DeMario, and then he's playing his rotation spot at the off the ball backer. And so, again, impact play. He makes a big tackle for loss, huge play. Again, I think he's just playing some really good football, and I think when you look at DeMario, Pete, him, Isaiah playing his third down role, we feel like there's a group there that's kind of built some roles that are really valuable to our team, and they're all playing, I think, some really good football.
At one time, it was kind of the third series of the first half and the third series of the second half. Is that maintained the plan, or do we just notice him a little bit more rotationally for spelling?
Yeah, it's been similar, and at times you may steal one more possession in there, here and there, and so obviously sometimes the flow of a game impacts that a little bit, but I thought he's been really productive.
You believe in the concept of having a number one receiver?
What about it?
Like, do you believe in kind of having one, or is it just the ball gets spread around? Like, is it important to have like a star receiver you can go to?
I guess the way I'd answer that is you want to put your players in the best position to be successful. When you have really premier players, you try and move them around and get them the ball as much as you can by play design. Now, from a quarterback's perspective, read it out, trust what you see, let your instincts take over. And so, I think it's anytime you have players like that can impact games in all a bunch of different positions, awesome. And I think Chris has done some really productive things playing in a bunch of different roles, and Vay's stepped up this week, and so that's been awesome. And Tip's gone from no snaps to 50-some snaps for a couple weeks in a row now, and he's doing really well. So I feel like that group's progressing well.
We've asked you a lot this year just about the young players, and I don't know, we're 12 games into this now. How important was it for you this year, in your first year on this job, to get the exposure to the young players, to see what they can do, and to see growth in players like Kool-Aid, who's a big tackle on fourth down, for where you want to take those things?
Yeah. From a developmental standpoint, we understand there's some developing that we're doing. There's some young guys that have made huge strides. Kool-Aid's made some big-time plays. Quincy, as close of an interception as you can have in a game. They're right there. And so, the back end, Jonas is playing a ton of snaps, and so he's going to get to experience all the highs and lows of an NFL season this year. And so what I think what we're fortunate to have is these young guys are, getting better each and every week. And then they have these veterans who have been here and have done a lot of good for this organization for a ton of years, or a lot of years, excuse me. And they're really, embracing bringing these guys along, and the leadership's been excellent. To have Cam and to see him have the 2 sacks in this game, and him to keep rushing the way he's been rushing, and DeMario the way he leads. Godchow, coming over from New England, and he makes a couple big time plays in that 4-minute stop to give us a chance. What I think is this nice blend of these young guys are coming up, but they're coming up with this leadership of these veteran guys who've kind of helped us along the way, which, I think while you're frustrated with the lack of wins, and that's ultimately everyone's goal, there's a bunch of these good, small, stackable things that we're able to kind of build off of. And, every guy's going to be frustrated when you lose. That's the goal of this thing. As far as if you don't get frustrated, then you're probably not in the right situation. Every single guy comes into this thing wanting to win each week, and that's our goal. And so, while we're doing that, some of these young guys are going to get some awesome exposure.
Quincy definitely picked that up today.
I'm 0 for 3 on challenges, I think, something like that. So, I don't know. There was no clear. I don't think there was a clear.
I think there's a lane maybe in the
It looked like Alante. When I watched the TV portion of it, you guys probably got more context of it than me, but it seemed like Alante might have been right as he was moving through that phase there.
Did anything when you went back and watched the 2-point attempt that anything changed from your kind of initial assessment yesterday?
Yeah, they obviously got to a 2-point play from the 7-yard line. They're able to play a little bit more coverage oriented. So they played brackets. They doubled CO. CO actually did a phenomenal job on the route. And you're trying to find one-on-ones. And, obviously Minka's a phenomenal player, and he did an awesome job diagnosing it and making a play. And so, we're close there. Frustrating one, though.
Something Tyler said that Bailey was like a really smart route runner. What makes him that? Like, what is it about his game? What is it that you see the maximum?
I think it always comes down to spatial recognition, recognizing the defense, where the voids are, understanding how to set up routes, and then that stuff all leads into, I think, that really smart football player. And he also, I think, one of the cool things about Vay is his understanding of how he pieces into the whole puzzle. When is he a complementary route? When's he, creating traffic for another guy, or he's running this route to open up another receiver on a particular route? I think his global perspective, the best receivers, it seems like, those are the guys. You need a couple of those guys on your team, and so we're fortunate to have him.
Is it something that you're able to identify watching him on tape, when the idea of pursuing him maybe becomes an option, or is that something you kind of figure out once he's in your system?
I think you can recognize some tidbits just watching how he is played in Denver, when he was there, and you can recognize, okay, he's asked to do a lot of different roles, a lot of different responsibilities, and then you can see some of the routes, some of the route detail that he would run with, setting up a route or finding a voided spot in the zone, like you alluded to, like the scramble drill when he was in Denver showed up, and it's showing up again for us. He was able to make some big time plays there, and so there was a lot of hints on film to make us really encouraged with what type of role he can provide.
This may be another one of those dumb questions, but
Are we on a trend line?
with Charlie, and obviously, like, you also have an active kicker on your roster, so it's just a week thing, or did he do it update?
Yeah, we'll let it progress. Obviously, we feel really good about Charlie, and I think that he's earned the right to continue to kick, and so we'll let that thing play itself out. Charlie did an awesome job. That kick was phenomenal. His onside kick was phenomenal. He's an awesome kid that I think everyone's rooting for.
You've seen a lot of teams kind of carry kickers on the practice squad and stuff. Like, are you surprised more teams are trying to poach from them in that sort of situation, or
I mean, a poach, you'd have to have 2 up then. That would be the tricky thing. But, I feel fortunate, I think, for us to have had Charlie developing through this entire journey. I think, it's really fortunate. He's done an awesome job. You go back to what training camp looked like, to in-season, to preseason, to in-season. He's just developed, and he's continued to grow. And, I think we're in a good space. Cade, I think he's still a young player that we feel good about. And so he's going to be able to develop as well.
Does Charlie's situation with the pathway impact anything as far as getting claimed by another team?
No.
How long did y'all work on that style of onside kick with him? Like, is that something he's kind of been doing on and off, or was that?
I think they're always trying new things. Charlie's always trying new kickoffs, new onsides. They've obviously worked a lot at it, and so I think it was a good example of translating from practice, because we had, when you practice it and it ends up very, very similar to the way it played out. And, it was a close call right there on the 10-yard line. Those are close margins. Those onside kicks are, the percentages are really low. And so everything's got to be perfect. And, we were right there.
Is there anybody in the organization whose idea specifically was to send him to Dallas to work with a specialist, or was that something Charlie came up with? Like, how did you
Mickey and I just talked about it at one point, just with, just the way our schedule was timing up. It felt like it was a good space for him to continue to develop and continue to grow. And, there's constant conversations. How can we get these guys, more opportunities to get better?